Gonna continue recording. I'm hoping the mic is correct. Uh, should be. I'll check in a minute. Let's copy that invite. Paste right here. We're gonna send it over to the man, Johnny Strap. And I don't know which one of these he does, but I'm gonna send it to both of them. And what's in here? Six. Strap, what's good? What's good, bro?
Yo.
Man, I don't know, man. This whole thing, man. To me, I don't know, man. I can't. We can't change the past, and it's not to sound passive about it, bro. But it's like I'm looking at this shit today. To me, that's a direct insult, man. I was talking about that lady that got killed. She got shot up, and nothing happened. And every time that happens, ain't no problem. Welcome back, Em. Every time something like that happens, there's no reaction from the people, man. And I'm just sitting around waiting to see when motherfuckers is gonna ride. And
One thing, I'm so sorry y'all I'm high. Don't get mad at me.
No, I kind of picked up on that, but it's all good.
One thing once we can focus on, we're in survival mode. Most Black people are in survival mode, which means we can't really focus on anything other than surviving. That's why I think we're in the situation we are, because regardless of how much we care about the situations, we can't let that get in the way of us taking care of ourselves. Not realizing that if we became a collective, you wouldn't have those stresses and those worries.
Let me ask you this: do you consider yourself on survival mode?
Hell yeah.
And why you not carjacking? Why you not out here fucking shooting niggas and all this other shit?
Because I'm different. And I mean, that's just the truth.
No, you're not that much different. There's more of us.
I'm different because maybe my upbringing was a little bit different than everybody else's.
No,
maybe the people we talking about didn't have a mother and a father. Maybe the people we talking about didn't have parents telling them to think for yourselves, like I did. Maybe the parents they have didn't expose them to shit like riding horses and new books and intelligent conversations.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe they didn't have that. Maybe they came into the bitch I was just talking about on the previous recording.
You know what I'm saying? I guess what I'm going at, I ain't gonna cut you off, John. I'm gonna say this and then it's on you. I guess what I'm going at is that we're only gonna take so much from our households that we grew up in, from our parents, whoever they are, whoever the guardians are. We're only gonna take so much, and then the rest we decide ourselves. Once you're in the driver's seat, it's on you to make the decisions, regardless of what it is that you learned at home. Now, I learned some good and some bad, whatever, but I still have final say. No, I'm just saying, I still have final say on what I do. We both.
But everything has to do with what you learned at home a lot of the times.
That starts you off, yes, but you still have a decision to make every step of the way. That's accountability. It's no different than fucking you in a store, and say you in the store, you ain't got no money and you just want a bag of chips. Okay, you got a decision to say, hey, well, I'm gonna wait till I get the money, or I'm gonna just take this bag of chips. But either way, there's consequences on either side. Now, this is shit that can happen when you're 10 years old. Most of us probably been there before. We ain't had no money. There's some Skittles in there. I want some Skittles. But you ain't got no money. So what you gonna do? You gonna go without, or you gonna go in there and take it? You see what I'm saying?
Think about the kids that just don't want it. They just hungry.
Yeah, it's kids like that. I'm sure it's kids like that. But I'm saying they still have, don't you know, it's kids that's been fucking orphans and home. Mike Tyson is a good example of that. Mike Tyson turned himself around. He was out there in the streets fucking around. He somehow
everybody ain't Mike Tyson.
They may not be, but a whole lot of us all say that we grew up poor. We didn't have this. We didn't have that. But
let me tell you something. If Mike Tyson wouldn't have been exposed to something different, say boxing, you wouldn't have heard about him, because he was out there robbing motherfuckers.
He was
until he was shown something different. Not everybody has that that opportunity. Okay, let's just say it this way. That little girl, right? She getting yelled and cussed at by her mother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who knows? And if it's any indication of what we saw in that clinic, she does more at home. So you got that against you, right? Mm-hmm. So then let's just say we're just gonna throw this in there. There's an absent ass daddy there, or a daddy that only come around when he wants something and he's ignorant and a thug and shit, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you already ain't being showed shit by your mother. Mm-hmm. You ain't being showed shit by your daddy. Chances are you live in a neighborhood full of people going through the same shit you going through. So y'all don't know to look outside of what the fuck y'all seeing, because this is y'all reality.
At what point should we care? Because I don't care.
Mm-hmm. It's not, well, you should care because, okay, I'm not going to say, I put it like this. I care because I see where the root of the problem is.
No, I'm saying, I see the root of the problem. Here's my point. My point is sexual abusers, R. Kelly. He got fucking, he was a kid by his sister, by whatever dude, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Then he became an abuser himself. At some point, I don't blame the abusers no more. I blame R. Kelly. You're a full-grown adult. I don't give a fuck about your past. I don't care how many dicks you had to suck growing up. You abusing kids, now it's on you. Exactly. I feel the same way about kids who don't have no home training.
There is a point where there needs to be some personal accountability.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's all we say.
There is a point. And okay, even being brought up in that neighborhood, you know it's wrong to go and fucking snatch somebody out of a car.
Right.
Yeah. But my thing is maybe it's because this is what I was going to school for. I can break it down a little bit better. But my thing is what the fuck are you seeing and what are you seeing? What are you being exposed to make you think that this is okay, that hurting somebody or possibly killing somebody? Where's that disconnect that even though you know it's wrong, you don't care, you're going to do it?
They don't give a fuck.
There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect.
No, I think it's just I think what it is with these, especially with these young boys and these girls, is that mentality. I don't give a fuck mentality comes with the territory of being out in the streets. They glorify the streets. They look up. When I was in high school, they looked up to dope dealers. It ain't no different now. They looked up to the street niggas. They looked up to the gangbangers. It's the same shit.
Now they look up to the dope fiends. Shit.
Right. Well, they
look up to the dope fiends.
It used to be the selling it. Now they're using it. So that's what they admire. They want to be a part of that. It's kids that come from decent households that still want to be a part of that shit. So I'm saying, so they go out there and they want the prestige because that's part of the in crowd. That's what's popping, to do all this type of reckless shit, whether it's shooting guns, whether it's taking a bunch of drugs, whatever. So that's why I still come back to accountability, because all of us at one point was young, and all of us, every moment above ground, you are making decisions, whether they conscious or subconscious, you're still making decisions. See what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that you are responsible for those, and you have to deal with the consequences. There's kids that went out here and killed motherfuckers at 15, 14 years old and doing life in jail. You know what I'm saying? It's motherfuckers out here like that. It's motherfuckers that didn't make it to C15 that I went to school with, that didn't even make it through high school because of their decisions. Now, I don't know what you was exposed to, but I know once you leave the coop, you making the calls. You know what I'm saying? Look. I'm saying something like this. Once you step out that door, like motherfuckers that say they didn't even know their kids was out there doing this. I don't believe it, but let's just say that's true. These motherfuckers living a whole different life outside the house and then come back home like everything is good. But you out in the street, you fucking around, you got to deal with what comes with that. And see, those are the motherfuckers, they not coming to white neighborhoods, they're not going nowhere else. They coming right there in our neighborhoods and coming to bust us in the head and blow our brains out for a fucking car that they could have worked a summer job and got. You know what I'm saying? They coming out there busting up in our house.
What summer jobs?
Put like
everybody can't cut grass. Everybody can't wash cars. You know what I'm saying?
They don't want to.
Because
they don't want to.
They parents. Well, again, this goes back to what you were saying. So I guess I agree with both of y'all. Ebony, you're right that they parents never told them. I don't even know if it's still possible now. Y'all remember when you can go pick up cans for like 5 cents, 2 cents, whatever that was. No. I don't even know if that's still a thing. Like
we used to get pop bottles. Like we used to get pop bottles and take it back to the store.
Right. So I don't know if that's still a thing now, but there's always way. Growing up, you always, even on TV, you would see, oh man, I got to look either lemonade stand, which really I never saw anybody actually do that to make money. I did see a whole bunch of people rake some grass, and I did see a whole bunch of people shovel some goddamn snow. Yep. You can make money shoveling snow as a kid. You can come up at Miss Williams' house. Anyway, so ain't nobody told these kids that, or they didn't pay attention. Matter of fact, fuck all what I'm just talking about. Fuck everything I just said. There's no neighborhood that's 100% bad. As bad as Austin was, we still had Mr. Rogers, who got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and who came back home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You still had Miss whoever who was a teacher. No neighborhood was 1,000. Even in Cabrini Green, I had cousins in there. I couldn't staying over their fucking house, but I knew good and goddamn well Miss Lemons, who was on the floor beneath us, she was a fucking teacher. So she would be at school at fucking 7 o'clock. So no neighborhood is 100% bad. You've got examples. People just choose not to listen to them.
Right. It's they out there. It's true. If you seek, you'll find. It's just like, okay. And when I was in school, Johnny, I don't know if you remember Mr. Foster. Eb, you probably remember Mr. Foster.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Foster.
Okay. He was a guy that everybody liked Mr. Foster. Everybody liked him. It didn't make a difference who he was. See, those are mentors.
And he never stuck his tongue under the girl's asshole. At least not to my knowledge.
You say what?
He never stuck his tongue under the girl's assholes, at least not to my knowledge.
Who did that?
Well, it was a bunch of teachers.
Mr. Page, he was in the news. He got arrested at Steinman's. He had a couple of babies at Austin, right? Literally.
Page. What did he teach? That sounds familiar.
He was a band teacher.
Page. I don't remember him.
And he tried to do that shit to one of them little white girls at Steinman's, and she told on him.
Oh well. Hey.
Good.
Hey, you gotta deal with the consequences of the motherfucking game. You out here on bullshit, you gotta deal with that too. You ain't no exception because of your profession. That's
shit, look. See, a lot of shit happened before, because I left 3 years before y'all. Anybody from the West Side, you might know Johnny. You ever heard of that cop TC?
Hell yeah,
I heard of him. Yeah, I heard of him.
You know, TC had holes out on Madison because he was up at the school recruiting.
What? He was
wait. I didn't know about that. I knew about the gang shit. I didn't know nothing about holes.
What?
Yes. Look up Operation Broken Shield or some shit like that, or Operation Broken Star. His name was TC McCoy. Now, I knew TC from being a sub at Austin, but I also knew him because he used to terrorize the fuck out of my brother.
Wow.
Yeah, like throwing pop cans out the window at my brother. Beer cans, my bad. Not empty ones either.
Ain't that some shit? It's some cooking motherfuckers. Look, see that type of bogus shit right there? He got caught up though, right?
He got caught up in that whole broken shield thing with them West Side cops. Most of them was from the what is that over there? 15th district?
Whatever district that is. I don't think they shut it down, but there's a lot of those motherfuckers got arrested.
So did. This nigga, he literally had girls on the fucking stroll on Madison.
Wow. He was a pimp.
Ugly too.
But I don't know why I found it.
He must have had the gift for something, because if you can get girl out on the stroll, you got that gift. Straight up.
Yeah, he was doing threatening and intimidations and shit too.
Wow.
You know, he was evil. Like evil. Damn, I dropped my earring. My earring fell out.
Oh, watch out now. But see, that's what I'm saying. My whole point is like, we gotta start, making better choices.
Killing white people.
Nobody exposed. Because like I say, it's mental.
Hey, I bet if we did, Johnny, I bet if we did, we wouldn't be having these motherfucking problems.
What, as far as what?
Shit.
Wait, we're doing what?
This is what I say. All the white people need to go. And all this generation that's out here now, like these little motherfuckers, they need to go. And
there you go. That's what I'm saying.
But let me tell you why. Because they so programmed and trained to that lifestyle, they would never be any good. Not all of them, a few of them, but most of them, they gone.
There you go.
And all they gonna do is get in the way. So it's the white people, it's these little punk ass, little heartless, soulless motherfuckers out here. Candace Owens.
Candace Owens.
Yep.
Don't shit on Candace. We can't have that.
No, I hate that bitch.
Owens gotta go. She
Why?
gotta go.
She
gotta go. Because she is Auntie Ruckus. Okay? She is anti-ruckus. She hates being Black. So she talks about it. She finds all these white supremacist talking points. That's somebody who hates the fucking skin that they in. You're not going to tell me nothing different.
So
I agree 100%. I hate that bitch.
Because she come on there with so many, she didn't say some, she didn't got caught saying some shit that's so wrong, even Donald Trump had to correct her. And you know.
I rock with Candace, straight up.
That's because she say a lot of the same shit that you say that be off the wall and self-depreciating.
So that's self-depreciation what I say? Because I'm talking about accountability?
It's not
that's self-depreciation because I'm talking about accountability
towards you, but I mean, some of the stuff that you say, I didn't heard a lot of white supremacists say.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And I'm sure Alicia agrees. Is she eating?
Now you don't be all the way wrong with a lot of your stuff. Don't get me wrong. You don't be wrong with a lot of the shit you say.
I mean, it's just, why you in my business?
It's just sometimes it's like.
What do you want me to do, Em? What should I do? I should be empathetic.
Nothing.
No, but
I don't want to do nothing because
would you prefer no. Would you prefer that I'm empathetic towards every single Black person solely because they Black?
No, nobody is.
So
nobody is that way.
So then what should I do? What do you think? What do you think the best
try to be a little bit more understanding that everybody didn't come up the way you did, so you can't expect them to. You basically, let's put it this way. You would make the perfect Republican.
I believe
no, I don't know. I don't agree with that one.
I say it this way because Republicans can't see beyond the scope of their own experiences or their own expectations. They don't see that there's other options and there's other possibilities and shit. It's what they see. It is what it is.
So okay,
but these niggas out here. So these niggas aren't they fucking it up for the rest of us?
Yeah, they is. You goddamn right they are.
Take out the white people. White people don't exist. It's just niggas. It's
right. If it's just niggas,
and what did I say? What did I say we do to them?
Okay.
So we say the same thing.
You with it or you against it? If you can't make a choice, you go with the rest of them.
You talk about taking motherfuckers.
Oh, they made their choice already.
These mamas ain't gonna have nobody taking their fucking kids. It's not gonna happen.
They can go with them. They can go with them. They're part of the fucking problem.
But they ain't gonna fucking move because they're gonna want it both ways. It's the same reason why you don't.
But see, this is the thing. You don't give them the option of picking. Either you do it or you don't. Ain't no options.
Okay.
When it's time for a motherfucker to get serious and when it's time for us to come together, it's a lot of motherfuckers that's gonna get left behind because of a multitude of things.
But you know,
I say they made their choice already.
We don't need anybody that's gonna be a hindrance to us. And that could be a hindrance of self-destruction, killing ourselves, or it could be somebody who is rooting for the white people more than they're rooting for the Black people.
I'm not.
You got to pick a struggle.
Just to be clear, I'm not rooting for white people at all.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
That's why I say what I say is because from my vantage point, you see it one way, I see it different. I see it like, yo, even though, okay, I'm not gonna make it seem like I grew up. I didn't have a perfect upbringing. I don't have perfect parents. I didn't grow up on a perfect side of town. I fucked up like everybody else. I made mistakes like everybody else. But I realized at a young age, you have to make choices. And when you make a bad choice, you get the bad shit that comes with it. That's common fucking sense. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think made you come to that? What do you think made you come to that decision? Honestly.
Okay, of course it's gonna start at home. Now I can't control what goes on in somebody else's home, but like I say, we do know that it takes at least one good parent to raise a productive citizen. That's a fact. At least
think about it. One parent that's not a contributing member or a good person of society, how do you expect them to? It's like you expect two apples to make an orange.
Okay, well, look at the Antoine Fisher story. Okay, there's a good example. Here's a kid that grew up in orphanage, would call all kinds of hell, but still decided to make a change in his own life. Seen a dude in the story, his best friend got killed in front of him. He was being sexually abused. He had all this crazy shit going on, but still decided to be better.
What exposure did he have that the other people around him didn't?
He chose to go to the Navy.
He went to seek out because he like what
He went to
King
the
King
Navy.
chose that. See, this is my
Okay,
saying.
he
That's
made
what I'm saying.
he made choice, but guess what? Wasn't he about to get kicked out though?
Okay, right.
Right,
So
because
was I.
yes,
Well,
because
no,
he was fucking
I
up.
wasn't gonna get kicked out. But okay, I'm gonna tell you like this. When I was in the military,
Because he was fucking up because he was still stuck in that damn mind frame. It took him to
Wait, but no. But he made the first step. The first step was getting himself to a position and getting himself around people who were successful. Like if he just took that same energy and been with the gang, he'd have just been more fucked up because he around ancient people.
Right. And see, the thing is.
So one thing is that you kind of gotta. What I'm saying is you got to get away from that to see that there's other things out there.
You damn right.
Whether you make the decision or not, whether you make the decision or not,
right?
You gotta understand. Most of these little motherfuckers don't even think they gonna live the week out. You think they have the mindset to plan out their lives?
You know what? That's you know what? Then that's they bad because they shitting on themselves. Because
you
know what? The gangs and the drugs and the guns was here in the fucking 80s. It was here before I was born. It's gonna be here long after I left this planet. Those elements were still out there. They were right outside.
And it was still motherfuckers caught up.
Can I call bullshit on that?
Motherfuckers caught up in that shit then too. Think about it. How many of us know people who got uncles that's doing life for dumb shit? I mean, that's always been there.
I want to call bullshit. Excuse me, Kennard.
Okay. What part?
Kennard, let me just say this to everybody that's talking. Mm-hmm. We forget you. So I'm gonna say this. The first thing is that don't fucking complain about shit that you don't have a solution for, or you're not fixing in any kind of way, right? Mm-hmm. Say that. The second thing is this. While we all talking about people and how they can pull themselves off bootstraps and blah, 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 blah. I don't know about y'all, but I know in my life, I've had people to help me. And I've been through, I'm grateful that I don't look like the shit that I've been through. Because I've been through a whole lot of shit. Like I've lived in group homes and all kinds of shit. I ain't gonna even get into the shit that I've been into. But I had people around me to kind of pull me out of situations that I've been in. I've been in a whole hell of a lot of situations. Having said that, people do what's normal to them. And things that are put into this society, not that you have to feel sorry for them and not saying that you excuse it, but you understand it and you try to fucking fix it, because this shit didn't just start because somebody decided that that's what they wanted to be. Nobody wants to be a motherfucking criminal. Nobody wants to be shot at. Nobody. Well, let me take that back.
No,
there are some. I said, let me take it back. I'm walking it back as you Negroes are trying to get in my conversation. I'm walking that back. There are some people that in fact like that. But for the most part, people that are doing it to survive. Like I'm going to assume that we all know people that have done some shady ass shit. But they've done it because nigga they need to eat, or because they didn't want to live in poverty.
No, they're doing it for the prestige, for the
okay, I know people. Yeah, I'm gonna say that I know people that are doing it for that. I ain't talking about now, Negro. I'm talking about back then.
Okay.
Back then.
They didn't do it back then for that.
Well, I'm talking about what I know. I said I ain't talking about you Negroes. What I know. Right. Some of the people that I know were doing it because they were poor. They used to be poor. Their mothers and parents weren't able to afford shit that they wanted. Lights was cut. I'm not gonna even put my family business out there, but I've had relatives that didn't have fucking lights on. Like that was regular. That was a fucking.
You're gonna Southside. We already know how your life is.
Shut up! If I jump on you. You want this black on black crab over? You want this black on black smoke?
I don't want none of that Alabama smoke.
Okay, I'm just saying. It looks like you want some of that. Want some black on black smoke? But what I'm saying is that I remember they used to some of my relatives didn't have gas, and that was like fucking normal that they didn't have gas, or that they didn't have heat, or they didn't have lights. Like that shit, it was normal. And so when you come from that shit, you don't want to go back to that shit. And whether you go, like some of them went to school, some of them went to Air Force, some of them went to, to the service, some of them sold drugs. Like you do what you do in order to get out of a situation. And albeit fucking drugs and violence and all this shit is fucking terrible. But part of that shit is us. That's a us problem. hands down, it's a us problem because what we have done essentially, like even when we were growing up, drugs were drugs and crime was crime, but there were rules to the shit, and there were things that you did in front of folks, and there were things that you just didn't do. And we have become a society of get that bag. If it ain't happening in close proximity to me, I don't give a fuck about it. I'm not gonna say shit. I'm just gonna keep moving and shake my head like it's a fucking shame. We have to stop that shit, right? Because as long as we shake our head and go in our house, like at the end of the day, whether that shit affects you directly or not, it affects you, right? Because this is the world that we live in. This is the world our kids live in. This is where our parents live in. So if we're not actively taking a stance to fucking fix the shit, shut the fuck up. Like, period, dot. Like, if we're not
fix in this world we live in today.
What?
Define fix in this world.
I mean, if we're not taking an active role to try to change the narrative in our communities, like talk to some of these young men and young women, or fucking open up something, try to be productive in a positive way. Cause I don't give a shit about you shaking your head. Because at the end of the day, you cannot.
All of that is being done and has been done forever.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why it's not being done. I'm gonna tell you why. Motherfucking black men in the community are bullshit right now. Black women in the community are bullshit right now.
No,
yes, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because these black men, there is no fucking protection at all. I remember growing up, people would sit on the porch and you saw Miss such and such, you better speak to Miss such and such. You didn't cuss in front of Miss such. Like, there were things that you did not fucking do. You had
here's why that's not a thing. This is why that's a very big problem. The reason why that is not going to happen, and I won't even suggest that any black person or a woman, no one should do what you just said. Because back when we was in the 80s growing up, fucking little Tariq wasn't going to shoot at Mrs. Johnson. He wasn't going to shoot at Mrs. Johnson.
But so you gonna fucking complain? Because like to me, everybody ain't gonna shoot at you, right? And there are some people that can actually be reached. There are some kids that can be reached. There are some kids, like we know plenty of kids that definitely are not being parented, right? And I remember Kennard saying some shit that just was, well, I think it was spot on. Like, it's like going to a fucking party with somebody and they're leaving you and going to party with somebody. How fucked up do you feel? I would be pissed off, bitch. Why you bring me to a party and you leave me? So this is the shit that's going on with these kids. You're having these kids and you're leaving them. So you want to make the kids responsible for everything that they're fucking doing, but the parent is responsible because you don't parent them. You leave them alone. You leave them to fend for themselves, and they have all these feelings and emotions that they don't know what the fuck to do with it. My anger is very prevalent, right? Feeling abandoned is very prevalent. Yeah. And then you have all these other influences, gangs, drugs, party. You have all these other influences. And on top of that, motherfuckers talking about getting a bag. So if we're not changing the narrative, even if you don't want to go out and talk to little Tariq, right, which I would do, because I do it all the time. If you don't want to do that, let's motherfucking start by changing the narrative on how Black people are seen, right? Let's change the narrative on how we interact with each other. Like there has to be a positive somewhere. And if we're not going to create a positive, whatever that means, you can fix it. If you're not affecting change in any kind of way, you have no right to complain about it. And I just feel like
you can only affect change on a very minuscule level. Overall, one person, one group of people, one organization is not going to be able to reach all.
Hey, but let me tell you something. If I have a problem with something and I'm doing something to fix it, I don't give a fuck what you're doing and what you're doing, right? Or whatever you're doing. If I'm doing something, then I know that I'm fixing something, or I'm attempting to do something other than sit around and talk about the shit, right? And eventually what's going to happen is some other people who may not know, okay, I don't know how to fix it or what to do, they might see me and join in on the shit I'm doing. But as long as we sit here and complain about the bullshit, happening? I'm just saying, I'm not saying whether it is or not. I'm just saying while we're complaining about it, if we're not affecting change, we need to shut the fuck up because we can do something. Whether it's create a guard, it's something.
I don't think everybody's something is the same. So my approach is to basically say, my approach is to write these people off. Now, that's my something. I have zero problems with writing off this generation and saying, basically, fuck y'all. You're on your own. Your parents fucked you. We're too late. One second. We're already playing the game.
We're the generation that fucked them up, right? We fucked them up, so we should fix it. We fucked these kids up. These kids didn't get fucked up by themselves. So how dare you say that you're gonna write a generation off? That's the generation we raised. We fucked them up.
First of all,
we did this shit.
Hold on.
Everybody didn't do that with their kids.
Wait. Listen to what I'm saying. writing off this generation also includes the fucked up parents. I'm cool with fucking up. I'm cool with starting all over again. Like, fuck all these people. If you're from my generation and your kids out there shooting and nothing and bucking and going crazy and stuff, well, unfortunately, you got to be one of the motherfuckers who got to go. We just got to deal with it. But we can't pretend. We can't sit there and pretend like the game is already going on. The scores is already being counted, and we sitting here trying to pretend like we can actually go back and practice. We ain't got time to practice. The game is going on. You got to fix it now, or do something.
This is not a one generational problem.
It is.
We can't. Okay, listen. We cannot go back and fix the past, right? So This is what me and Kennard are saying. We're sick of hearing about the past. Fuck the past. We're talking about today, tonight. What needs to happen, and what needs to happen tonight is we don't go find little Jeremy that's out in the corner who just shot Nook. Hey man, you're lost. Fuck trying to figure out that your mama did something to you. I don't fucking care. Right. You are wrote off. Now, maybe if you're 8 or 9, I can work with you. 12, maybe I can work with you. Before you get too deep in the system, I can work with you. But if you're 15 and above, fuck it. I'm not even gonna try. You're not worth my time.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say this one thing that, these kids they wasn't taught anything, let alone respect for their elders. So let alone you coming up to them trying to help them. They may see that as a threat, and you may lose your life in the process.
And they may not, but if the reason you do something is off supposition, you're fucking wrong. Now, if you tried and that's what it is, then that's what it is. But to suppose something or to make an estimation about it and not actually do it, you're fucking wrong. And that's all I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, if you don't like it's not just our generation. It's our parents, because some of these grandparents are out here in the club. It's the way that you relate. So just to write somebody off because they had a bad experience, somebody could have wrote my black ass off a long time ago. I'm not gonna even get into the shit I was doing, but somebody could have wrote me off a long time ago. They didn't, right?
Wait. Why didn't they write you off?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
do. I don't.
Okay, I'll tell you why I would write somebody else. If I go up to a student, a young man, and I'm talking to him, I'm giving him some good sense, and he's like, man, fuck what you talking about. Cool. I will never speak to you again. Now, listen, if that boy ever comes back to me and be like, you know what? Hey, I was on some whatever. Okay, I'll talk to him again. But as far as me seeing him again, I ain't got shit to say. I'm moving on to the next.
Well, I mean, but that's you, John. And again, I don't know why people. I had people in my corner. I mean, because it's family. But I don't know why. I did a lot of bullshit. Like a lot of just, bam. I did a lot of shit. Okay, yeah. But I wasn't written off. And my thing is this: before you write anybody off, you have to at least give them a chance and understand that everybody. Like, one thing that I realized is that everybody didn't come from the environment that I came from. I've done cotillions. I went to etiquette school. Went to private school majority of my life. Right. A lot of people didn't have that. I had a mother and a grandmother, and I had people around me that taught me how to be ladies, and I had a lot of other stuff. My mama didn't talk to me about getting a bag. There was no such thing as getting a bag. I wasn't even allowed to watch Raw because of the vulgarity of it, right? So I was raised differently. You have these kids that are not only not being taught that they're children, but they're being inserted into grown folks' business, grown folks' conversations, grown folks. Anything that has to do with grown people, they're allowing their kids to be exposed to it. Yes, sir, with the church finger.
But I want to say this, and I know I might have said this before, just to add into what you just said. A lot of these kids are put into adult positions. So that's the fault of whoever the parent or parents are in the house. But
that's my point, though. How do you put them in those positions and then don't expect them to go outside and act and think like they're fucking adults?
They don't care. They don't care.
They don't know how to discern that it's a difference.
Just so I'm clear about this.
That was my point of it. That's one of the points I was saying. A lot of them are not taught to care.
Just so I'm clear about this. Hold on. Just so I'm clear. A person who has grown up and been grown up without any type of home training, and they've been grown and being taught as adults, and now they act as adults. they're not acting as productive adults. I, being an productive adult, I'm supposed to give a fuck about this particular person. Where in the adult handbook is that?
Absolutely, big
does
head.
any of your jobs act like that?
Because you know what? If they want to come and blow my fucking brains out, so his mother.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because we're not because everybody's not going to blow your brains out. I'm about to tell you why.
Okay.
Because in order for us to affect change, and we see people need help, now everybody ain't gonna blow your fucking brains out. And I don't approach folk like they're gonna blow my brains out. I'm very careful about how I approach people, but I don't just listen, hostility. Listen.
My bad.
You can't approach it from a place of motherfucker gonna blow my brains out. Like if you see somebody maybe struggling or somebody doing something, man, it may be the way that you say it or make a joke or whatever. Like these people need, these children, these young adults, they need somebody that cares. And again, we go back to just what you said about leaving somebody at the party. If you leave me somewhere an extended amount of time, I'm gonna think that nobody cares about me because my mother, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I got custody of my nieces and my nephews a long time ago. They mammy left them, said she didn't want them. She left and took her. They mammy.
Oh, okay, I just want to be sure I heard you.
Yeah, you heard me right. I want to call her something else, but I'm gonna keep that to myself. But she left them, and I raised them kids for 7 years by myself. She never sent no support. She didn't show up for their graduations. She didn't show up for their birthdays. She didn't show up for shit, right? And so my nephew, he was in 5th grade when I got custody of him. By 6th grade, by 5th, 6th grade, his stomach every morning would bother him, right? It would bother him so bad that I was taking him to the doctor because I'm like, I know something is wrong. But what was fucking with him is that his mother left him, but she took her other kids. So she left them 2 with me and she took all her other kids, right? So you try explaining to somebody in 5th grade, why? And she would tell them she left them with me because they were moving to Texas and she wanted to make sure that I saw them before they left. And I'm like, why would that make sense? Because I come fly to Texas to see y'all. I can fly y'all in because I had them every summer.
Right.
My point is that when kids feel abandoned, it fucks with them. And so my niece at this age, she's 20, she'll be 22 in a couple of months. She got a baby. Right? She didn't finish high school. She dropped out of high school. She left my house, dropped out of high school, listened to her mama. Her mama ain't graduated from 8th grade. Her mama told her the education wasn't important. Her mother said, had a baby, I'll help you with it, whatever. And I'm telling my niece, like, yo, you don't have no high school. You don't have no house. You don't have no car. You really don't have anything. I said, so is your plan to get on public aid? That's a shitty way to raise a child, to start a child out in fucking poverty when you don't have to. My niece didn't live in poverty. My kids didn't live in poverty. Why would you introduce your child to shit like that? Your mother didn't raise her own kids. So why would you listen to her say, I'm gonna help? Sure shit. She had that baby. She started working. Her mom told her, that's not my baby. Stop watching her. She told the kid, my nephew wanted to go stay with his mama to see his siblings. He went over there to stay. Now she telling them, I really don't want y'all here. She making my nephew, who was in high school, pay his he paying rent. He pays for his own shit. So I'm still taking care of him. I had to pay his graduation fee, class ring, send him boots, whatever he needs, send him money, make sure he's good. And he's working, right? Mm-hmm. You're talking about kids that are fucking, like, essentially he's abandoned. Like the person that's supposed to love you the most, like no disrespect to fathers, but the person that you expect to love you beyond anything is your mother. When your mother treats you like shit, where do you go? And there's a lot of fucking anger. Like I talked to my nephew, and my nephew, he's so quiet, and he's like, Auntie Alicia, I know you my guardian. I know this and this. And when he talks about college, he calls me to talk about college. He's in a house with his mama who makes him pay $125 a month and tells him it's too many people in her fucking house. His younger brother got a car right now. They didn't buy him shit, but his mother hasn't taken care of him in 7 fucking years. So you're talking about a generation that's dealing with bullshit like this, and you want them to be fucking together. You want them to be normal. You want them to be happy. You're looking for production when these motherfuckers have, like my nephew and my niece, I'm surprised they ain't selling drugs or some shit, like real talk, because the shit that you go through, like their mother literally has not shown up for any of their graduation. Like none of their graduation, none of them. She doesn't encourage them to go to school. She kicked my niece out the house the other day because my niece couldn't pay her $100 because she didn't work. And she told her I needed the $100 for the baby. But since you owe me $200, can you take the $200, $100 out what I owe? Fair, makes sense. She told him no. Had my nephew pack up all her shit sitting out on the porch and told her she was no longer allowed in the house, but she got a 1-year-old baby.
That's crazy. But you know what?
Okay, without being insensitive,
How do you expect them
that's
to give a fuck if this is what they facing every day?
But you know what?
very easy. Okay. Wait. That's a very easy answer. You're in a situation that's completely fucked up. The very simple question, especially for the young girl, you have a daughter, or I think you said a daughter. I don't know if it was daughter or something. Okay, so you got a daughter. Do you want your daughter to grow up the same way you did? Very simple.
But the answer would be no. The answer would be no. One second.
Okay. If the answer is no, and you have someone who's talking to you saying, I have a way for you to get out of this, who ain't telling you to sell no pussy, who ain't telling you to go shoot nobody in the face, you should be receptive. You should fuck as an adult. As someone who has, my kids got basic enough sense. You want to still get a whooping, or you want me to tell you how you cannot get no whoopings?
Right. How about I chose violence each time. I chose violence each time. But what I will say to that is that you're expecting, like, the reality of it is, like I explained to her, having a baby. She's not prepared. Like, you don't make fucking decisions like she was ill-equipped to even make that fucking decision, because while her mother put her out the house, I told my son to call her. She's hanging out with her mother and her sister. To me, you couldn't say shit to me, because now you've affected my child and where we got to stay, right? But when you're trying again, you have been abandoned by your parents. So you're looking for that love. So you're still searching for a love from them. You're still searching for approval. Like, no matter how old she is, she has not gotten to the point where she can understand. She hears what I'm saying. She hears everything what I'm saying. But she also knows that coming with me is going to require, I'm going to be in that ass. I'm going to be